Now, your hands have you got arthritis or anything in your hands by virtue of what you went through, or?
I'm very fortunate. I'm numb all down this arm. These three fingers, you could cut them off. I wouldn't feel it.
Wow.
I've slammed this baby finger in a couple of doors. And then I go to walk away. It happened with a garage door. You know those garage doors?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
this finger was in the crack
oh
and it
God.
locked shut. And it literally crushed it like to paper thin.
Oh
And
my God.
and I
And you never felt a thing.
didn't feel a thing. I went to the hospital and I said I broke my finger. And they said, well, no, it would hurt a lot more than that, And I said, no, it hurt a lot.
It should hurt a lot more than that. Oh my
So
God.
it's
You're
a funny
crazy.
concept that
Uh,
haven't experienced it. It's very difficult to explain. I learned early on in paralysis that unless I was speaking to somebody who had suffered a spinal cord injury,
right.
it was very difficult to explain what it's like to have neurotrauma
Right.
um, and be cut off from your lower body.
Yeah. And in this case, there are parts of your body that still the nerves are shattered and you'll never regain feeling in them, right?
I have a scar on my spinal cord. So
Okay.
in an MRI, you can see a scar on my spinal cord.
Right.
And spinal cords don't really heal, right? They don't heal the same way as skin does. So there's a when I stretch, when I put my feet straight out on a bed and I tilt my head forward, it's like a hum goes through my body, like because I'm separating the spinal cord, just the scar a little bit. So
Incredible.
it's that close, right? And so
Yeah.
without the stabilization in my neck, yeah, there's just no way I would have been able to. The neck would have been able to support itself all these years. So the doctor did a good job.
It's funny. Um, you and I now have been connected for a couple of months or so, a number of months. And it's funny how my own attention to so many things that are going on around me, in and around your energy level and in and around your industry. And it's really funny. I almost liken it to you don't see a certain type of car until you buy one, and then you see all kinds of them. And the same thing is happening with you. Like, here am I'm speaking with you on a regular basis. We're interacting on a regular basis. I absolutely have embraced your story. I understand what the value of it going forward. And then all this stuff seems to come into my universe. I mean, this idea of spotting that story on Bob Probert, I would have never in a million years like thought anything more about that other than to say to myself, yeah, Bob had a tough life. People don't know enough about Bob Probert, right? In all honesty, he was not a happy camper in a lot of areas of his life. But then I thought of you immediately, and I knew you would have had some kind of interaction or some kind of, even close proximity to him.
We can detect happy campers and unhappy campers now a lot easier because all you have to do is listen to what they say when you ask them how they're doing. And if they say they're doing fantastic and everything's rosy and good at this particular point in history, they're not opening up to you at all.
Right. It's almost like when you actually meaningfully say something like, how are you to someone, and they just give you that kind of
Oh,
cut
everything's
off.
great.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah.
fantastic. Couldn't be better. It's like, okay, what planet are you like? Do you think I'm from? Right?
Right.
Like, it's a really rude. It's almost becoming rude or passe
Right.
to behave that way because it puts you in a very, very precarious position.
Now, have you rolled elements of that into your guidance and into your courseware? Do you talk about this?
Yeah, yeah, because it all relates to locking yourself in a jail cell. So what those people are doing is they're simply locking, when they speak like that, they're locking themselves in a jail cell today because nobody wants to hear that bullshit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like everybody's got family, people are struggling, kids are getting divorced. You know what I mean? Like, weird things are happening, you know?
yeah,
And it's affecting all of us. So for somebody to say, hey, like, geez, it's all been good for me.
yeah. I know it's not the case. I know. I think we as humans always there's a dynamic to us that wants us to be our best in front of people. I think it's part and parcel of the issues I generally go through when I'm trying to rebrand or build a brand for someone is that I say, first we have to tear it down before we
Die,
can build it.
die, or die or change.
Right.
So that's where I lived. I lived there on the ice for a few seconds. Die or change.
Yeah.
So that was the turning point for me. And I think I've realized that change is like that, right? We as humans don't like it so much. Do we get ourselves to the point where it's going to kill us? And then we go, okay, I got to change now. Where
Yeah.
we knew it was hurting us for a long time,
Right.
but it takes it killing us before we go, okay, no, no, that's not the option.
No, for sure.
And
For
some people
sure.
let it go. Some people let it go,
Yeah.
and it does. So that's sort of my philosophy on it. It
Well,
seems to line up.
is letting go hiding from it? I mean, it really is.
Well, it
Yeah.
is. It's saying, okay, I'm tired enough. I've done enough. I'm going to pack it in now, and then something will take over.
Hmm.
Something in your body will take over.
It's not always a good thing that takes over either, right? I mean, that's the
Mm-mm.
problem.
That's the thing. Yeah, as soon as you allow it in, and then, well, my mom is a good example. She got cancer 2 months after. They never found the primary. So, what did kill her, right? So
Yeah.
nobody ever found out what killed her.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 2 months after I was paralyzed, she was diagnosed with cancer. 3 surgeries later, 4 years later, at age 52, she died. Like, she just died,
Oh my
right,
God.
at 52 years old. So, you know, she had always said when I was a kid, and I'd heard it many times, and she never should have said it, that if anything happened to me, that she would kill herself, right?
Right.
And so, did she activate something there? I always wonder about that. It's close to my heart, so I've sort of tried to chase that down in a way. Um, and that's the nature of my system, is to protect you from that, right? Is to protect you from backing so far in that you turn the key, that you pull it out and you throw it out, and there's nobody there to help you. There's so many people that are doing that right now. And I'm telling people that are in my space and in the coaching space to really ramp it up on your knowledge about trauma, because all the psychologists and psychiatrists are going to be maxed out for the next 3 years. I'm seeing it already, and they're building buildings as fast as they can to house the people that are going to need help, that are finally going to come to terms. They're going to be like, I'm going to die, or I need to get help, and it's going to happen all at about the same time.
I think there's a thought out there that PSTD only happens to soldiers.
Well, PTSD is an undiagnosed symptom. So here's a cool thing about PTSD. If you were given an illness by a drug in the military and they can prove it and it's diagnosable, then you don't qualify for PTSD. Uh, you don't qualify. So
Mm.
those are some of the silly rules that are going on, because PTSD is still it's not diagnosable. So everything that is diagnosable overrides it, and so they're just looking for something to blame, right?
Right. Wow.
They're not adding up the numbers. They're just looking for something to blame.
That's a rather awkward position to take with a person's life.
Yeah, the stuff I'm looking at, the papers I'm pouring through right now, the Global Alliance Foundation Fund. Like the team of people I work with are probably in touch with the biggest group of military veterans out there, between Veterans House and the Global Alliance Foundation Fund, which is gafhouse.org. You know, we're seeing some stuff and some consistencies that have never been seen before, because the same thing happened to so many people, right? And now we can communicate, so the guys are getting in touch with each other, and there's some leaders that are organizing them so that the picture can be painted. And all I'm doing is I'm just facilitating the process, helping them, making sure that they're thinking clearly, making sure that they're meeting basic needs, you know, and through that I'm helping other people, so it fits right into System 438.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Now, that is that particular work that you're doing kind of voluntary? Is that or are you are you part of a board, or what are?
I've been asked to be on the board, and I will be eventually when the time is right, when the right people are there. I coach a few of the board members that are currently there, and the leadership. And through that coaching, I'm able to introduce them to my network and to the other, you know, groups that I'm familiar with, because I spoke to a lot of these groups across the country, and I'm friends with Veterans Affairs, and you know, I understand the release program and Canada Corporation and just the different responsibilities at high levels, and we're trying to come to an amicable agreement somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
I'm honored to have been on calls. Like, I've been on calls with four generals, three-star generals, like Doug Smith and two other people, and talking about, you know, the state of affairs and the state of the union. So, you know, they're listening. The question is, you know, when is the change going to be meaningful enough for us to, you know, to wave a flag, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there's some people I'm thinking out there thinking, you know, as you go to the bigger audience with your story and dealing with trauma, and they're saying, where does that fit into business?
Oh, well, it's a good question, Peter. I sent you the document. You have it on your computer right now.
Okay.
It's called Facing Change Like a Champion.
Talk to us about that.
Well, I mean, it's all about thriving in transition. So if we're going to have to change, we might as well grow through change, right? Because you're either growing or you're shrinking. And so if you want to thrive in transition, you have to face change like a champion. And that's what we're teaching people how to do, is to do it so that you win at this thing, right? Change doesn't care about you. It just is.
Right.
So you want to win against change. It's like a fence post. Don't stop banging your head into the fence post. Okay, just go around it. Right. And that's essentially the image that you want to have in your head. There's a post and there's a big field on the other side, and you keep running into the post. Think. It's not good for you.
No, it isn't. But, you know, the change area that I've been involved with in corporate Canada and USA, for that matter, has all been related to two different companies merged. They all had different, you know, they all had different systems, and now they all want to play like big girls and boys, nice in the same sandbox.
So you take the best of the worst. Everybody's good with the best of the worst.
Right. And why do people default to that? In my mind, I think it's because it's the easiest journey to take. What are your thoughts?
It's ego. It's ego, because somebody says mine is bigger than yours, and you know, mine is brighter and better color than yours, and they have no way of backing it up. Like, and they don't accept questions, right?
Right.
Because sometimes leaders are so busy talking they can't hear anything.
Oh, wow! Now there's a mic drop moment.
Well, yeah, there's I've met so many of them, but I'm not saying they've done the wrong things to succeed monetarily, and but they're talking to me because they have issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they don't want to hear the issues they have, even if you were able to record it, turn it around and show it to them, and it was them, they would still deny it.
Interesting. It's almost like the playbacks, if the, you know, you're used to this coming from a sports arena where you're actually, you know, your games are being filmed for the training purposes. And when you see yourself do something stupid, you say to yourself, God, did I really do that? Like, what was I thinking? Right. And those are the kind of moments that I wish we could actually turn the camera on to many organizations. They'd see that they are fumbling and that they are playing on the wrong wing and all those other things too.
Well, they're hurting their people, and their people are their most valuable resource. And so, the leader in the future, I mean, has got to be just focused on building common cause, because
Right.
all the data points towards that. If the leader knows how to do that properly and knows how to put their people up and bring their people coffee, things go in the right direction. And it sounds like a basic thing. Yeah, you got to keep track of stuff, and there has to be accountability, and there has to be terms of reference around every project. And you have to know how many projects you have going on in the company. These are all part of it, but at the core, it's behavioral. I mean, it really is behavioral to create a happy, prosperous work culture. And the numbers are staggering. I look at the numbers; it's ridiculous. It's like, you get two people working together, it creates four more people. Like, not just one or two or three more people, four more people. And so you're able to triple your workforce without adding a dime of cost.
Mm.
So if you follow a particular algorithm, a particular method of measuring this, which is physics, I suggest you use a physics model. The numbers come out clear, and the numbers are getting more ridiculous. The reason to change is becoming greater and greater and greater every day. The doubling of the world's information right now happens every 11 hours. If you go away on vacation for 2 days, the world has quadrupled on you.
Wow. It's funny you should mention that, because I often say that internet time is a time of its own, and we haven't caught up with that speed. In fact, we're all chasing that. We're all chasing that end game. And I think people look at me like I've grown horns or something when I have this conversation with them, because I say, look, it's so fast, and your relevance depends on your best effort to try and keep up with things. So as a brand, if you're out there developing an awareness of yourself and sharing thought leadership and education about yourself, if you take a week off, right, and like, you're lost, you're gone, like, you
Yeah.
need to start back again, right?
Yes, you do. You do.
Yeah.
And so you talk about a pandemic and the impact of something like this, where you're gone for months and months and months and on, and then gone for months and months and months. To believe that that's not going to have an impact on your brain, your capability, your performance, that's irrational in itself.
Right. Well,
So
I think, yeah,
it
I think,
compounds. It compounds itself.
oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, yeah, it does compound, and it, because it works on itself and it's against you, right? The more time you leave it,
Mhm.
the faster it becomes in morphing, right? That's,
Yeah.
it's funny how as you slow things down, things become faster on the reverse side.
Yeah, and I've mentioned to many people about my system, and they've used it that way. They've been patient with it. They've gone to it every now and then within a couple of years, it's like, um, they're using it as a decision making tool. I got an email from a guy who went to my TED talk, and he had a big decision to make. He just sent it to me, and and after my TED talk, instead of joining a company as a vice president, he started his own company. And 6 months ago, he sold his company to a bigger company, and has retired at age 38 or something with
Wow.
two young kids. He's going to get back at it again. But after my TED talk, he walked out of there and he said no to the job, yes to himself, and it was all because he used the system. He actually used it to grow to the success he wrote down.
Without giving away the farm, what are the one or two primary things that we should, as people, focus on in order to give ourselves our best chance?
But the number one would be emotional control. And I'll share with you why. I'm privy to some stuff that happens on Parliament Hill. And when the pandemic first broke out, um, there was of course a lot of concern, a lot of confusion, and one of the decisions that was made that was that if there was anybody that lost emotional control or couldn't control their emotions or repeatedly lost emotional control, they would be removed from the decision-making environment, put a layer outside. And so the room got calmer and calmer and calmer over the first few days, until there was just people who were able to control their emotions and didn't let outside influence and sort of illusions take over their mind, or irrational behavior, letting it in. So the people who were able to manage the trauma in their life better were left in the room to make the decisions. And I think that helped Canada a lot.
Wow, that's a great example. And I can think of like personalizing that, and how minuscule the thing might be that you actually have to get your head around, right? It could be something as simple as like, getting over some nerves for doing some specific activity. I'm not sure what else you think.
Well, the other one, the second one, which is almost the opposite, is belief in self. Right? Those are the two most important ones, but they play against each other sometimes, right? Because you believe so much in yourself, and somebody says you're not good enough, so you hit them over the head with your stick. Right? And then you go to the penalty box. That doesn't help the team, right? So maybe you cut the diet, it's worth it. I don't know.
You see, there's that lifestyle conundrum again that we're always talking about. Like, we're rewarded for crap. And then there's this great big void in not just our lives, but the lives of the people that we're supposedly helping, right?
Yes. And I sent you that document, Facing Change Like a Champion, Thriving in Transition, with Kurt David and Doug Smith. And the mastermind, really, not the mastermind, I guess we're all in it together, but the one who knows the words that the organizations in the US and Canada need to hear is Ron Weens.
Right.
So Ron is the guy who's sort of behind this, because the only way you can find the leaders that want to change is by getting them all to come into the room, putting a corral around them, and then speak to them, and then watch them and see which one is, chases you down as you're walking out of the building.